Peter, welcome to our studio. First and short, how did it feel having finished The Fall of the House of Usher, an opera you've been working on for 20 years? Was it a relief?
There was a certain element of relief there and an element of delight as well. In fact, I finished it really quite a long time ago. But on the other hand, it's not completely finished because, of course, in theory, it's going to go on to be performed or videoed and so on. It's going to be a very long-running project. But I'm happy to have something out there, at least to prove, after 10 years of saying it's 85% finished, now it's there, and people can judge it themselves.
That you didn't just came up with a story which wasn't true. Wat ik net al zei, de opera The Fall of the House of Usher, waar Pieter 20 jaar aan gewerkt heeft, is dan eindelijk af, hoewel niet echt af, want hij moet ook nog opgevoerd worden en op video gezet worden. Maar het was toch een bijzondere opluchting en hij was ook verrukt over daar eindelijk een punt achter te kunnen zetten. Al was het al een tijdje geleden dat hij dat project beëindigd heeft. Your new album, Fireships, has a rare emotional impact and shows as always an involved vision on human existence. What is the title track about?
It sums up one of the aspects of the album, which is our feeling that we're completely in control and that what we do has no effect but what we mean it to. And in fact, the main vision is that we're kind of either sending up distress flares or charging along ourselves, and we don't realise that the flares hit the roof. So in a way, I'm saying it very, very quickly, and of course I always say that the reason a song is because I can't say everything in words. But it has an element of ecological thinking and also an element of the way that men are, which is one of the other parallel things that runs right through the album.
Yes.
That's more or less it, I think. And so far as I can say, a brief précis.
Het titelnummer van Fireships, daaraan kleeft natuurlijk een flink ecologisch aspect. Het nummer gaat vooral over het feit dat we maar doen als mensheid. De vlammen tot het dak laten komen en denken dat dat absoluut door kan gaan zonder dat de boel een keer afvikt. Dat is één belangrijk aspect. Een ander belangrijk aspect is het mannelijke. Wat is nou het mannelijke? Nou, daar komen we meteen op. There are 3 successive songs on Fireships that seem to be an entity. His Best Girl, that's one of the 2 songs you're going to perform. Oasis and Incomplete Surrender. What is their communal theme?
Fundamentally, it's one of the things that I wanted to write about was obviously songs from a man's point of view, because I can't do anything else. But I wanted to have perhaps a bit more female sensibility involved than I've done previously, or than men's songs normally do. Now, I believe that men and women are different. I don't think that we're the same, but I think we're composed of the same stuff in rather unequal balances.
Meat.
Meat, yes. Meat and ideas. That's more or less it, okay? So I was trying to get a few more ideas this time. If that's the division between men and women, then that's what it is. So His Best Girl is something of an ironic look, but more or less from a female perspective on this, traditional story of the older guy goes off with the young girl. Oasis is, I think, certainly for me, quite a sensual song, but from a female sensuality almost. And Incomplete Surrender is really trying to talk about this point at which we remain men and women, but share either in a partnership or relationship or actually inside in acknowledging the 2 sides of us, and that's neither a victory nor a defeat nor a surrender, nor in the end a completeness, because we're always in juggling between one thing and another. So that's kind of the joke about it being incomplete surrender. It's always halfway, never absolute and abject.
Halfway and sometimes half work. Er zijn 3 songs op het album Fireships die min of meer een eenheid vormen. His Best Girl, Oasis en Incomplete Surrender. Het zijn de 3 songs waarmee Pieter geprobeerd heeft als man, want dat is hij nou eenmaal, kan hij ook niet helpen, een vrouwelijke kant weer te geven. En in die 3 verschillende songs geeft hij 3 verschillende aspecten daarvan weer. In de laatste song, Incomplete Surrender, dat wat mannen en vrouwen gemeen hebben, maar ook wat ze niet gemeen hebben. Daarom kan het ook niet meer zijn dan een incomplete surrender. Last question, Peter. Most of the music on Fireships is, though not intimate, melancholical. Most of the lyrics are about, failure, let's call it failure. Are you a pessimist?
I'm not. No, I don't think I'd carry on doing what I do if I was a pessimist. I fundamentally think I'm an optimist, but the interesting things to write about usually are slightly on the, if they're on the cusp, then they're slightly on the darker side. For myself, I think that the music is calm rather than dark this time, and certainly that was my intention, that it should be something that one can drop into and maybe leave questions of optimism or pessimism behind, and have a kind of a comfort in the paradoxes that are in there about men and women, about ecology and so on, and simply be awake. I mean, I think if you're awake, then life is neither either a bed of roses nor completely darkness. For myself, I try to think of myself as a positivist, and I hope that some of that comes through. As I say, I wouldn't still be doing it if I was negative. I'd have given up long ago. There are only so many times that you can say everything is rubbish, and for myself, I say this is a problem. To look at that problem is actually to start to address it, and so that's what I try to do.
Peter Hammill is geen pessimist, al klinkt hij misschien af en toe op zijn platen zo. Peter Hammill is en blijft een optimist. Want wat zou je anders in het leven moeten doen? Peter Hammill, the Steinway Grant is all yours.
Well, Tommy woke that morning with a head full of rocks, and Sylvia was in shock. The story they'd been faking was frozen on their lips and falling through the brush of fingertips. And though they packed their bags ready for the road, the curtains and the bedroom door stay closed. For Sylvia and Tommy, this is a curtain call. They've been running away for years, but pride in flight precedes a certain fall. So Tommy rubs his stubble as if to check his face is there, and Sylvia combs her hair just like nothing really happened. They'll carry on as before. Oh, but this thing won't work with it anymore. And though the bags are packed, ready for the road, the curtains and the bedroom door stay closed. For Sylvia and Tommy, there's nowhere left to hide. They've been running for years to find some kind of thrill to take away the emptiness that they both feel inside, making the fictional out of the matter of fact. Masquerade the picture, but now the frames are cracked. For Sylvia and Tommy, there's nothing left to try. They've been running away for years to try to find some kind of life that offers an excitement that the rest of us pass by. So Tommy woke that morning with a head full of rocks, and Sylvia was in shock. story, baby, baby, was frozen on their lips and falling through the brush of fingertips. And though they packed their bags, ready for the road, the curtains and the bedroom door stay closed, stay closed, stay closed. Tommy, there's nowhere left to go. They've been running away so long, there's just no strength to carry on. They can't get back to what they knew, a life abandoned once and long ago. This was Curtains, and the second song is His Best Girl. Foot down in the GTI Cabriolet, the villa in the south of France for vacation. Keep your head down, baby. Keep your hair in golden curls, and you will always be his, and you will always be his best girl. Fast forward on the handycam video, chop that tan up, glowing UV on the sunbed. At the health farm you'll be guarding his investment well. Keep your head down, baby. Keep your wits about you now, and you will always be his, and you will always be his best girl. Beads and bangles, it's too late to claim your independence now. Your rings and baubles are the marks of his possession. Your head down, baby. Keep your counsel to yourself. Keep your hair on, about you, and you will always be his. But will you always be his best girl? And you will always be his. And you will always be his. But will you always be his best girl? Foot down in the GTI cabriolet. His new friend's young enough to be your daughter. Foot down in the GTI cabriolet. And you will always be his. And you will always be his. And you will always be his. But will you always be his best girl?
Peter Hammill,